This is an impromptu video, and I just wanted to come up here while I'm waiting on my hamburger to cook. So I haven't wrote any notes or anything, but one of the things that I noticed when I was trying to come to Stevens Transport is that I could not find any information on the company as far as like personal things that a regular trainee, like questions that I needed answered. I couldn't find anything. So I was just thinking, like, I'm just gonna come up here and make a impromptu video. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about is as a trainee, some things that you should look for, or some things that you should expect your trainer to teach you. And I'm doing this because, one, I don't want to be a trainer, but I heard I make a really good trainer. But I didn't get this. And a lot of people that I talked to didn't get these things. And it's not just with Stevens Transport. It's with other trucking companies, because I've had people from other trucking companies call and ask me the same thing, the same questions. And these are not strangers calling me. These are people that I've been friends with. So, and that went on to different companies and they asked me things. So it's not like I got strangers calling me. No, not like that. But anyway, just keeping it real. So one of the things, specifically for Stevens Transport, trainers like to get you on their truck and just make you drive. You're just gonna drive. And they don't have any problems with that. They feel like they got a second person, a second chair in the truck. They're gonna be in the back seat, and you're just gonna drive your 260 miles, I think it is, 260 hours, and they're just gonna be in the back, and they don't teach you anything. They're gonna get the double the miles. They're gonna get paid for double the miles. And then you're going to get off the truck, and then you're going to go back to Stevens Transport for grad class, and you're not going to know a thing. And the thing that Stevens Transport do is while you're on the truck with your grad, every week you have a counselor that calls you every week and say, how are you guys getting along? Is your trainer showing you how to do, specific things? And do you, they're going to ask you little questions about when you be on a road, what's your speed limit, how far you should be behind another vehicle, what's the minimum speed limit to get off an exit, to make a turn onto an exit, how fast should you be going. They're going to ask you things like that. And after repetition, you're going to know, okay, I'm going to say this, that, and the other. But unless you know what your trainer is exactly supposed to be teaching you, when they give you that call, you're going to automatically say, yeah, I'm getting along with my trainer. Yeah, my trainer is teaching me this, or yeah, my trainer is teaching me that. When, in all essence, if you don't know what you're supposed to know, you don't know what to ask. So one of the things that your trainer should be teaching you is how to do more than log onto this tablet. Okay? Logging onto the tablet for on duty, off duty, things like that, that's simple. Okay? You're just gonna press a button, push off duty, post trip, sleeper, and that's it. And confirm. On duty, pre-trip, confirm. That's simple. What your trainer needs to be teaching you how to do is your circle of service. You're going to need to know your circle of service, because when you get out on that road, if you don't do your circle of service, you're going to have some problems, okay? Your circle of service is put in place so that the company, Stevens Transport, can get paid from the shipper and the receiver. They can get their money in order to pay you. And the trip sheet is for Stevens so that you can get your money from Stevens. Your trip sheet is how you get paid. Your circle of service is how Stevens get paid. You need to make sure that you know how to do your circle of service. And a lot of trainers don't want to take the time to train you that. In your circle of service, you're gonna put you're gonna plan your routes. You need to learn how to plan your routes. Your trainers do not want to show you how to route plan. They just want you to drive. That's it. And that's so wrong. Okay? You need to know how to plan your routes. You need to know specific routes that you're going to be taking that Stevens Transport want you to take. Because if you go out of route, you're going to get charged back those miles. Okay? In most cases. Not in all cases, because people make mistakes. So you're going to want to know what routes you're taking. Am I taking I-30 East? Am I taking, 40 West? Am I, all these routes that Stevens Transport is wanting you to take. You're going to know what specific fuel station that you need to go to. You need to know how to put that in your circle of service. You need to have your mileage, your arrival time, your trailer number, your departure time. You need to know all of that, and that's going to be put in your circle of service. Once you get to Stevens Transport, they're going to explain that to you, but your trainer is supposed to go more into detail on how to do it. You're going to need to know how to fill out your trip sheet. Okay, you need to know what to put on your trip sheet. You have your bill of lading number, you have your load number, your PO number, your tractor number, your trailer number, how much did your load weigh, how much did it weigh, do you have your load locks? You need to know all of this, okay? And then you need to know how to put all that information in there so that you can get paid and that Stevens can get paid. And one of the things, you need to track your miles. You need to know what your mileage was before you departed to go take your load, and what it was at the end of delivering the load. You need to know that. You need to know how to your trainer needs to show you how to do a pre-trip. And this is going off the top of my head, so if I forget something, I'll be sure to come back and let you know. But I didn't write anything down because this is just going off the top of my head. You need to make sure you know how to do your trip sheet. Okay? And I tell people this all the time. I don't care how many times. What is this? I don't care how many times you park that truck. Okay? When you park for the night and you get started in your day, or vice versa, when you do your pre-trip, you better always do a tug test. You better always do a tug test. Do not just take off. And that's one of the things that my trainer never did. He never did a tug test. And I was so afraid, because you never know, like, while you sleeping in a truck or something, if somebody go and pull that handle, you understand what I'm saying, that's underneath the truck, and you're behind just all willy-nilly getting in the truck and taking off, and next thing you know, you done messed up the trailer, right? And so you always need to do a tug test. You need to always check your glad hands. Make sure nobody's sticking any coins inside of it, just so that your air can be blocked. You need to check your tires. When you pick up your trailer from the shipper or the receiver, if you do a dropping hook, always check the trailer tires, because, you don't want to be in the middle of a freaking doggone highway and you get a blowout because that tire had treading that was seeping out and you didn't notice it. Okay? Another thing your trainer needs to show you how to do is your DVIR. You need to know how to do your DVIR at the end of the night, when you at the end of your 10-hour shift, your 11-hour, when you park for the night, you need to do an inspection on the tractor and the trailer and put in your DVIR. If there's nothing wrong with it, then fine, you put there's nothing wrong with it, with the tractor or the trailer. If there's something wrong with it, you put it in your DVIR, so that way they can be notified. You need to know how to use your vector, because that's how you're going to send in all of your BOL, your bill of ladings. You're going to send in all your information on your BOL. You're going to send in all that information. You need to learn how to weigh the truck. You need to know how to weigh the truck. And on top of that, you need to know how to slide your doggone tandems, where your tandem should be, and what the weight is for the truck, the trailer, the load that you're carrying. Because so many times you get out there and you get your first load or your fifth load, whatever it is, and you don't even know how to slide your tandems. So now you stuck in Booty Crack, Oklahoma, and you can't even get the load out because you don't know how to slide your tandems, so you don't know what the weight is. So you just riding willy-nilly, put the tandems anywhere, and then you get to the weigh station, and now you overweight in, you know, one of the areas on your in one of the axles, and now you got to pay a fine. You got to call a company and pay a fine because you didn't do your job that you didn't know how to do, and now you got to pay a fine. You need to know how you get paid. If you're getting paid by zip code, if you're getting paid by mileage, by loads, you need to know how you're going to get paid, okay? And that falls back on being able to submit all your paperwork, knowing how to submit all your paperwork, because if your paperwork is not submitted properly, you miss one number, get one number wrong in the bill of lading, or you don't submit the paperwork properly, guess who's going to have to wait a whole week to get paid again? To get paid, period. Okay? Now you stuck out there, you know, and you don't have any money. Which reminds me, before you go to orientation, make sure you have some money in your pocket. Make sure you have some money in your pocket, because when you come to orientation at Stevens Transport, they're going to put you in a hotel. It's the Motel 6. Okay? It's the motel. It's not no fancy hotel or anything. It's the Motel 6, and you will be sharing a room with somebody. And it's not going to always be somebody who has the same standards as you. So you're going to have to deal with that. Stevens Transport, for the first few days, they give you free lunch. Okay? After, I think, the end of the week, like Friday, you don't get any lunch. Classes start on Sunday, they end on Friday. You don't get lunch. You don't get lunch. You need to have your own money, because you're going to get that one free lunch while you're in class. And then when you go to the hotel, you're not going to have anything. When you get on the road with your trainer, you're going to need some money. Okay? So make sure you don't just come to Stevens Transport or any orientation and you don't have some money in your pocket saved up, because you're going to need some money while you're in orientation that day, because you're going to want to eat. You're going to want something to eat other than that free lunch. Okay? And then when you get on the road with your trainer, you're going to have to wait, you know, to get money a whole week to get paid. Okay? So you need your own money. Make sure you have money. In some cases, I've seen people, women in particular, before they come to orientation, they apply for food stamps. And so that way, by the time that they get on the truck with their trainer, they have money to kind of like buy food and things like that. And then it holds them until they start getting paid for Stevens Transport. So make sure you have your own money or a means to buy food, because if you don't, you're going to be hurting, especially when you get on the road with your trainer, because once you start getting paid, you're still going to have those bills back at home that you got to take care of. So when you get your first check, you're going to be like this, because Now I have barely $500 or $600, depending on how many dependents you put on your W-2 form. So it's a guaranteed $800 for training while you're on the road, not while you're in orientation. You don't get paid for orientation. So it's a guaranteed $800. So if you don't have any dependents that put on your W-2 form, you're gonna get about maybe $500, $562 maybe, to be exact. Or if you have one dependent, you might get $674 or $694, something like that, $697, something like that. Okay, so, and then if that's all you have and you got rent due, you're not gonna have no money. Now, what Stevens will allow you to do is to take out advance, right? You get $150 advance that you can take out. If it's not an emergency, do not take that advance. And I know you might need it, but if you can kind of go hungry and starve for a whole week and not take it out, which is kind of hard, then don't take it. I would even go so far as to say, when you come to orientation, pack you some noodles for the doggone week or a month or something like that. Pack you enough noodles so while you on the road with your trainer, you can eat noodles, survive off of noodles until you start getting some money, and then you won't have to be taking out any advances. Sometimes your trainer might be willing to buy you a lunch here or there, but for the most part, they're not doing that. They're not doing that. So, what else you need to know? You need to know how to read a map. You need to know how to read a map. Now, you don't necessarily need the map all the time, and in most cases, you might never need it. But you want to know how to read a map, so when you trip plan, God forbid, if this doggone machine break down, you can't trust that Trucker Path app, because they will allow you to use it for, I think it's maybe 2 weeks. You can use it for like 2 weeks, and then they're gonna want you to pay every month or every week to use it. I forget. It was good for the week, the little bit that they allowed me to use it, but then once they started requiring that I paid money, and they do this in the middle of a load. So you could be on the interstate in the middle of a load, and they're giving you directions, and then they will cut off talking about pay me. Where they do that at? Like, for real, and then now you lost. You sitting there on a road like, okay, what exit do I take? So you don't want to trust Trucker Path, right? What else do you need to know? You need to know how to read your hours of service. You need to know when you're off duty, when you're on duty, when you need to be in a sleeper, and what else they have on here. Driving, on duty, sleeper, off duty. You need to know the difference between all of those. Okay, what constitutes you being on duty? What constitutes you being off duty? Okay, you need to know who your counselor is, how to get in contact with them, and you also need to know that if you are not learning on the truck the things that you need to know, then you need to let your counselor know so you can get off that truck. Don't be so afraid to get off the truck and get a new trainer. Let your counselor get you a new trainer, because you're trying to get those miles in. You don't want to do that, because I guarantee you it'll hurt you in the end. It's gonna hurt you in the end. You need to learn how to back. A lot of trainers are slick. They just want you to drive, right? So you have to film yourself. Stevens requires you to film yourself backing in certain places. So what a lot of trainers would do, because they don't want to teach you, they don't want to be bothered with teaching you, they will get you in at the receiver or the shipper. They will back the truck up first for you, then pull up so that you can get in a truck and do a straight line back. Put the camera on so that they can see you backing in. That's cheating. And yeah, you can do it. You can do it and go along with it, but it's going to hurt you in the end. Because when you get on your own truck and you get to that shipper or that receiver and they put you in some doggone tiny rinky-dink doggone spot door, and you can't, and you taking 2 hours to get in, guess who's going to run their clock out? Guess who's going to run their clock out? Guess who's going to get all the freaking stairs and feeling all uncomfortable trying to get in there? And guess who is not going to get help from the yard jockeys? Because they're not going to help you. They will literally stand there, sit there in their truck and watch you struggle for hours, and they will not help you. Don't let them cheat you out of learning, okay? Because it's gonna hurt you in the end. Make them teach you what you need to know. Make them teach you what they're getting paid to teach you. Because if you're not learning, they're gonna get their money and they're gonna send you on your merry way. And then you're not gonna have anything. You basically gonna be starting all over in a doggone truck, a $200,000 truck, and you're gonna spaz out. You're gonna spaz out. Okay. What else you need to know? There's so much you need to know. Make sure they show you how to pump the fuel at the fuel station. You might know how to do that already. Some people don't. You gotta learn how to use your COM data card. You gotta get your Loves card, your pilot card, and your membership card. So when you training, make sure you get those and you register and have that app in your phone. The TA doesn't necessarily do that. With the TA, when you fuel pump at the TA, you get your receipt, and with your receipt you qualify for a shower. At the Loves and at the pilot, you have to use your registration card, let's see, you got your COM data card, and then you get the rewards card from, this one is from the pilot, and you get one from the Loves. So you need to know how to do that. And what else? I can't think of anything else right now. I can't think of anything else right now, but when I think about it, like I said, I think I covered most of the things. But if I think of something else, I'll come on here and I'll let y'all know, because y'all don't need to be doggone getting cheated, okay? Y'all don't need to be getting cheated. Make these people teach you what you're supposed to know. Learn all the rules of the road that Stevens require, not just how to drive a truck. You don't need to know how to drive a truck. Stevens require you to do this speed limit when you're getting off the road. Stevens require you to do this speed limit getting on the road. You can't go under, you can't go over. You need to learn how to do everything the way Stevens specifically say for you to do it. Don't get the big head for those of you who already been driving, and you come to this company and you're like, oh, I don't need a trainer. I already know how to drive. Just put me in a truck and let me go on the road. Even if you go on a road with the trainer for 2 weeks, try to erase all of that things. Well, be open-minded, okay? Don't erase everything. Be more open-minded. What Steve Jobs say? Be radically open-minded. Was it Steve Jobs? No, it wasn't. It was not Steve Jobs. It was someone else. It was someone else. I can't remember. Principles. It was in a book called Principles. But be radically open-minded, okay? So much so that you will soak in everything that Stevens Transport want you to know according to them, okay? And if you do everything according to them, you know, per se by the book, then you will not have any problems, okay? I am going to go back because my burger, I pray, is not burnt right now. But I'm going to go eat my burger. And then if you have any questions, just put it in the comments below. And I'll be sure to get back to you. For those of you who are looking to come to Stevens Transport, women in particular, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask me, and I'm very transparent. I will get back to you, and I will make another video and answer your questions. I pray that I've helped you so far, and welcome to Stevens Transport. See you on the road.